Wake up!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Married to Film. I'm Ralph, and this is Shamanda.
And a sleeping bag.
And as we said, here's another Lost reaction. This was sent to us from William Carr Jr. We appreciate it. This is Lost, Letting Go, Reflections of a 6-Year Journey. And what a journey it was from our first time watching it till the end.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And if you don't know, I'm gonna say now you know. If you don't know that we will be rewatching Lost next year, anniversary.
Yeah.
Dun 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 dun. So stay with us till next year, because we're gonna do it again.
Right. All right. Let's go ahead and check it out.
All right. Letting Go, Reflections of a 6-Year Journey. Okay. Oh.
And all this stuff looks familiar. It's crazy. Wow.
Each one of us is brought here for a reason.
This was the very first view I had of Hawaii, flying in on the plane. And I just remember thinking, wow, this could be my home for the next many years. And sure enough, it ended up coming true.
Wow. Just gets you all in the feels when you hear the music. It's just like,
This is a Hawaii-inspired painting, and it's mainly, I think, about the colors. It's impossible to separate being in Hawaii and Lost, the experience. We were all on that island together, much like the survivors. And just being there, creating the show in that environment, I think, informed all of our experiences and the show.
This place is different. It's special. But we all know it. We all feel it.
Now this is what Josh Holloway and I would vote. We would come right out of this harbor, take off right out there and go deep sea fishing.
Wow.
And we're passing by the world famous Diamond Head crater. That's a nice little hike for people who are into beautiful views. Oh, and here we go. Up into the crater. This is super cool. I feel like I feel like I'm a tour guide. If you look out of the left-hand side of the helicopter, you'll see the world famous Diamond Head Studios. This is a lot of history here. And as we fly over, we can see everybody literally packing up, cleaning out, getting ready to go home. That's kind of sad to see.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
We're here at Diamond Head Studios in Oahu.
Where's the tram ride?
Literally right behind Diamond Head. Diamond Head is right up there, and this studio is where Hawaii Five-0 was originally filmed.
Okay.
And a few years ago, we took it over, and this is really the home base for production for Lost.
We didn't take it over from Hawaii Five-0. There was a little bit of a lag.
Many years of lag.
Yeah.
So let's go look at a few sets, shall we?
I wonder if she's April
This is
Webster.
the first incarnation of the submarine.
Henry Gale landed on the island on a balloon. And this is
Before Benjamin Linus killed him and took his identity.
That's
Yes,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
This is the original plane, which was sort of a strange hybrid of an L-1011 and a 767.
Wow. That's a big plane.
I don't know. It doesn't really look very flight-worthy, Gene. I don't know.
Okay. No, he's
I came down on the initial scout, and I remember driving around in a van with JJ and sort of starting to get a sense of, at that point, it was still, you know, are we going to shoot the show Lost in Hawaii?
There's no way that the show would have been even half of, or a quarter, or a tenth of what it is if we didn't shoot it here with all of the sort of incredible sense that this island brings to the show.
Yeah, it would have worked had it not been there.
right. Because the scenes would have been jacked up. It would have been CGI, and you know how we feel about that. Especially back then, it wasn't
What I love
as...
about Kualoa is that it's the most dramatic scenery, I think, on the entire island. This is almost a signature location for Lost. And we shot over 6 seasons here. There's even a little sign that I can see right now that's commemorating the fact that we shot here.
Hey!
Planes and helicopters were always an issue. Aircraft.
Yep.
I can
Remember, I thought
imagine.
I saw one.
Did you work here first season? When did you first see
Yeah, it
it?
was the first season.
This is like one of your iconic
There's a few.
environments, isn't
There's a
it?
few. I mean, my first big thing here was
Golf.
the golf course. We also then had to walk to the other side of the valley because then there's that long shot of me and Dominic trying to mess the guy up on his shot when I was doing my dance.
Oh, yeah.
My iconic dance.
One of your choicer moments.
Welcome to the first and hopefully last Island Open.
You are all everybody.
I've heard of it. I don't know what the hell it has to do with it.
Gotcha.
It's beautiful. Having fun? Having a blast. Can't believe I get paid for this.
Wow. I know that's right. Oof.
After I read the script, I was blown away by it. It was one of the best scripts I've ever read, so I was really excited. I mean, what it's turned into over the 6 years, obviously, is much bigger than I could have ever imagined. I mean, the universe, the story itself.
Yeah.
Mokuleia Beach is where we shot the majority of the pilot and season 1, and so it evokes, you know, memories of the first season and what it meant to be on the show Lost. You know, it really this beach kind of defines that because it is so difficult. The elements are right there and you're exposed completely, but it's also so beautiful.
Jack will come out, he will see all this, it will be mayhem, and he will walk forward, he will look around, he sees Claire over here, he sees Boone there. So he's done with this, and as he runs over here, he goes to her, deals with her, finds Hurley.
I came here to Hawaii. I actually booked an extra week so I could, after I worked the job, I could still have a little extra vacation time. Wow. So if anything, I got a vacation out of it.
What did you think the prospects were for the show's success at that time?
Well, I thought the pilot read like a long Twilight Zone episode, so I dug it, and I was scared of it because there was like a little bit of action sequence for me to do of the exploding plane wing, which kind of scared me. Actually, my first line got cut from the pilot. It's when Jack yells like, "Hey!" in the opening, in the whole crash sequence, I turn to him and I go, "Plane crashed." He's like, "Yeah, I know." Just stunned from the whole thing.
This is the moment where you guys have all heard this crazy sound and you walk up to get a look at what this thing might be. It's uncanny seeing all of you together.
Yeah, isn't it weird? The ugly people didn't survive the crash. It's just the way it works out sometimes. Terror and depression are the two things that occurred to me when I heard that the show was actually going to go. I had worked in television for 5 years. Wow. I'd never experienced anything approaching, this level of production.
We've had a couple minor hiccups, but we're on track to make the greatest pilot ever, no doubt.
All right.
One of the very early scenes that we shot was where the polar bear comes running out of the jungle.
Polar bears don't get to eat this stuff. This one does. Did it.
Sawyer has to say, I just shot a bear. And I was like, oh my God, no one's going to watch this show. This is just so bad. It's so bad. It's so cheesy. And then we go into the jungle and they're all completely committed to the reality of the show. And I was like, oh my God, if the actors are this good and they're completely committed to the reality of this show, it might be crazy enough to work.
Heck yeah.
Right.
Wow. They didn't believe in the script, but they believed in the actors too.
The first day I was in the airplane, crashing, handcuffed to the ground. And the second day I was running through the jungle in the pouring rain, screaming in terror, because there was a monster after me. That was my second day shooting on Lost, which means it was my second day working as an actress in front of a camera.
Wow.
It was a really intense day, and I just remember being in the banyan tree.
What?
And shaking uncontrollably, and out of the corner of my eye, as I'm counting down from 5, I see JJ standing at the monitor, and he's literally going like this at the monitor. And to see JJ get so excited over the work that was happening in that banyan tree helped me to sort of shake off some of my jitters and some of my nervousness about acting for the first time ever, and just get into it and have fun.
This was her first.
That's crazy.
I mean, I want to hear the stories behind the actors, because I know that they said Ashtray wanted to quit before this happened.
Oh, look, Naveen, it's memory lane. I see further down, I see a moonbeam. Let us go see if we can't catch it.
And this is where Maggie dies.
Daughter from Taken.
Look.
Yes. And look, and he's saying this is where Maggie died.
It was this way. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
And then I was like, sort of like dribbling on her and crying on her.
Don't forget the key to the...
Where's Kate? Where's Kate? Where's Kate? And that's really what happened.
Damon was saying the show was about a sense of community, and
we had that community in that first season because we literally came to Hawaii. We didn't know anyone here. We hadn't made friends other than outside the cast, and we were literally sort of shipwrecked, if you like, with each other, and we did look out for each other.
we were all thrust into a situation with people we probably wouldn't have met otherwise, and we found incredible common ground.
One day I will live in a jungle like this.
There was a real sense of excitement and innocence and life and Lost was our life for that time. For those 6 weeks, we lived and breathed the show, and that was, I guess it created a sort of false reality that was really beautiful. It was like being at camp again, you know, and how quickly you become intimate when you're locked into something together.
When we first got here, we were pretty much the only people we knew. So we'd hang out on the weekends. It was kind of like we really were stuck on an island with each other.
Come on. It's something it's an intangible that you can't really put your finger on, but you know it when the magic is there. And it's, as soon as we met on the first night we all met, we were like, oh my God, this is like, what a cast.
Wow.
You know, everyone is such an individual, and it's not a needy feel from anyone. And they're all talented actors.
Oh, that's my song right there.
Yeah, that's the thing that gets you going.
I couldn't think of shooting this anywhere else than here. I mean, it's pretty breathtaking.
Hey, it's Guyliner.
And Claire. Yeah, that's ⴡ
It's Frank.
Yeah.
Over there. There it is.
Trying to get his head.
Yes, victory! It helps as an actor, and all of us can attest to it, to work in an environment where you can relax. And I mean, it's kind of hard not to relax once you get off the plane and you smell this air and you look around you and you say, okay, this is, you know, I've arrived in paradise. And then you add to that a crew that is, you know, that works seamlessly together. They're so laid back. Everybody's, you know, in flip-flops and t-shirts.
Okay.
And you can't help but sort of smile and say, wow, this is how every set should operate, you know.
Just having that positive energy and vibe and a relaxed sort of situation.
We're just a few spokes in a big wheel. And every element of this is the reason it works.
I was amazed at how good the crew was at working in these environments.
Yeah. It was like
it's
like they'd taken a course or they had a handbook or something that said.
This is just how they do it.
Wow. Yeah, you gotta keep everything dry.
You having fun yet? Like they'd all gotten badges in waterproofing and bug repellents and
balance.
Yeah, that's the
not falling in the mud.
The places we have to go. Guys are carrying, you know, highly expensive cameras and stuff through creek beds and
That first July on Moklea Beach, shade was such a, you know, prized commodity.
Wow.
It was so hot out there.
There's nothing better than working in a natural environment that's exactly what your character would be dealing with. You know, doing scenes in the actual tropical island environment that these people would be dealing in the jungle, on the beach, in the water, in the rain.
We had nothing but intense rain for like a week, for the first week of shooting. So.
Can we get the actors warmer, please?
Yeah.
It always makes your job a lot easier.
Now I've been cold, really cold, several times this past week because we're constantly being drenched with water, but feeling healthy, a little bit sore.
Heck yeah.
And cut.
Season 2 or 3, I learned to surf. And learning to surf was what brought me my relationship with this island. And I realized there's a reason the locals get in the ocean all the time, because it's so healing and it's so rejuvenating, and it sort of fills you up with not joy or exuberance or exhilaration, but just peace. You know, just a calm and a peace. And I think that's really where the spirit of Aloha comes from.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Baby, I want to go.
The colors, there's so many variations of green.
I do.
Oh my.
I want to see all of it.
Wow, this is so beautiful.
They say
first season, we had a joke, which was another rainbow. I mean, how many places do you live where you literally wake up and swim under, or apparently under, a rainbow? And that was certainly true in Hawaii. When we launched the raft season 1, we had, I think, 4 days or 5 days on the beach for that finale. And I said to the guys, what day are we going to be able to launch the raft? And they said, the ocean will tell you. That was very meaningful because you have to listen to the environment.
Wow.
And Gene Higgins and the rest of us, we always had blessings. We always did our best to respect and honor the environment.
Right.
My entire experience on Lost. It was special because it was the culmination of a huge emotional journey that the characters took, but also that the actors took. For us to have gone to the end of our first season was a real special time. So that kind of breaking free of the island was, in a way, a nice parallel to what we were going through.
So they took Walt at the end of the first season?
Yeah.
He's screaming Walt.
Coming up on the left side, 2 of them. Right on!
Sweet.
Oh, right there. I see him.
Is that mama and baby?
Let's look at what's on our stage here.
Here's really vice there. Yeah, we can go out here. House lights on. Yes, okay.
So when Oceanic A-15 lands in LAX, we shot that here.
We shot that here on this stage. Cool. The first set on this stage was season 2 hatch, where Desmond kept pushing the button.
The swan hatch, that massive swan hatch, right.
Took almost the entire stage.
Wow.
We had probably more conversations about the construction of that set than any set before or since. Because we knew we were going to spend an entire season there.
I know.
That's right. Yeah.
They really did.
But my favorite part of that whole set was the magically expanding armory.
Oh, right.
Which started out as a very small closet that you just walked in with a rack of guns. And by the time we finished, we were having entire scenes. There was an L. We were sleeping there. People were held captive to there.
If we had told you when you were originally designing it, around episode 13 or 14, they're going to catch an other, and basically we're going to start spending 20 to 30 minutes in every episode inside that set, you might have designed the armory a little bit larger, but you know,
But you
know what you know.
Wow. Is that crazy or what? See, I love that. Ooh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I feel it. It's gonna happen.
How do we open it? One memory that'll always stay with me was when we first started talking about what's in the hatch.
Damon and I were going over to see Steve McPherson, the president of ABC, and we were going to pitch him what was in the hatch. We were like, I wonder if we can get, like, you know, jobs as, like, coffee baristas. I mean, that might be what we're going to be doing in about, like, 24 hours. And, but to his credit, Steve listened to the idea, and he embraced it. He thought it was cool. And that was really, a big turning point.
At that point, when we started talking about what's in the hatch, the show opened up for me in a way that it never had before. All these conversations started making me finally realize for the first time, oh my God, Lost might actually be a series.
You started season 2?
Middle of season 2, episode 214. At the end of season 2, I had only had scenes with 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, you were just in that room then.
Yeah, I was always in that
John,
room.
Jack,
I guess our
Saeed.
first lines might have been, your friends are staying with us. At the end, when we're all on that pier.
Oh yeah, on the pier with the bags over your head.
Sure.
That's right, I remember that now. Oh, here he is, I thought to myself. Here's early.
Good morning. I'm Michael Emerson.
I play the role of not Henry Gale.
Yeah, I was thinking about you being here for 5 seasons.
That's good. Because his
And I
name
was
wasn't
like, wow,
revealed right there.
Not bad for the new guy.
Yeah, right. and the show got faster paced and more violent, and I think some audience members were not that crazy about that change, but I thought it was exciting.
Oh yeah, you said someone once came up to you, didn't you?
Yeah, that's my crazy fan story that I trot out all the time about the lady from New Zealand that crossed the street twice in 1 week in Waikiki to tell me that since I'd come on, they stopped watching.
Oh!
Just not the same anymore.
All the way back in the gap between season 2 and 3, I think we said things like, the show is going to start to move out of question mode and into answer mode. There were still questions, but, you know, that's kind of the nature of the beast.
Right. Literally.
You want to be the smoke monster?
Okay.
I'll be the dental in distress. Okay.
And then,
I'm afraid of a metaphor. It's something greater than myself.
I'm afraid of a metaphor.
Right from the get-go, I said to Damon, all right, the rule here is going to be, if you and I think it's cool, it goes in the show. And we kind of tossed out the window all of these traditional rules about television. Even up until the 5th season, when we employed time travel, Damon and I were like, people might hate this. They might think this is way too genre. But the audience accepted that. By that point, they had invested in the characters and in the show.
Okay, I'm saying, though. Ain't no turning back now.
I thought the time jumps was pretty sweet.
The first
I've
couple
always
of them,
had a great
I
amount of
screamed,
faith
of course.
in Damon and Carlton and all those guys that have conceived the show and been sort of, you know, been obviously instrumental in what the show has become and what the whole Lost universe became, and never ever doubted that it wasn't gonna pay off in some really cool way.
Yeah, we talked about this before with Emily too, about how, you know, we're not always, we don't have all the facts necessarily, haven't always had that, but that's sort of been part of the joy of, you know, sort of discovering a scene. You can't ask for a better exercise as an actor than sort of learning what you were taught.
It's a challenge being a really great one.
I think it's going to be strange going into other jobs when someone will say, well, would you like me to explain what's going on? And
Like, oh, no.
That's funny.
I didn't read the script.
everyone gets
Wow.
like from this island.
this is what I'm supposed to do.
There's nothing there, bro.
Let's just see about some islands here. Some fish might be kind of cool. Well, I think even I grew up on the show. I think I'm a better person in every way. I think I'm a better artist. I'm a better director. I'm a better producer. I think all of us grew up a lot on the show.
You know, before Lost, I had very rarely stayed in one place for more than 6 months, and very rarely spent much more than that much time with anyone, a friend, family, whoever.
Wow.
And so without being on the run, you know, I was definitely moving a lot. And this forced me to stay still, and it forced me to connect on a level that I don't know if I've ever connected before. And I think that happened a lot on our show over the 6 years. The changes we all went through as individuals were reflected in our characters and vice versa.
If I put an arm around to kind of help steady.
No, you just have to man up. All right.
Damn you! I've learned so much from the show. It was, I mean, this show raised me. I came a girl and I've come back a woman. Actually, facetious but somewhat true. It was a really incredible experience, and
I was a 34-year-old man. I'm now a 41-year-old woman.
I did think the idea of being a lottery winner in many ways was applicable to my situation.
Yeah, both your real self and your fictional.
Yeah. This show got me into, you know, a different tax bracket.
Wow, yeah.
And, you know, it was pretty much, yeah, it was a jackpot job to get.
I've had a great time in Hawaii. My kids have had an incredible opportunity. My little boy was 2 years old when we came over here. He's 8. Most of his conscious life has been in Hawaii, so I felt blessed every day that I woke up and I was like, man, I'm making a living, I've got a gig, and I'm living in Hawaii.
Listen here.
Man. Paradise.
What is this place?
This is the reason we're here.
This is how you get to the heart of the island. This is sort of like one of the capillaries.
While we created this fictional world of the show, we also created a real family that were the people who made the show. People have gotten married, had kids, have made friendships. I mean, the kind of incredible bonds of all the people working on the show. And as the show is ending and everyone is sort of getting ready to go their separate ways, it's been very poignant and really emotional.
Carlton, why did you kill this family? Why end the show?
Well, I think it would have died had we not ended the show.
Evolution.
Exactly.
Evolution is part of it.
It got real exciting, I think, when they announced the ending.
Yeah.
You could tell, you saw it in the writing that it's like, now we know when it's going to end.
It was the best thing that happened.
And you could just feel this change in the pace.
Things got much more urgent.
Yeah.
It was good.
Wow. Now it's just sort of bittersweet feeling of, wow, we're going out on a high, everybody's really excited, it's been a great season, but that's it. And I know my lunches will keep in touch, but actually all being together here, it's just not going to happen again, so, yeah. Don't make me cry.
How you doing, bro?
Hey, I got us off the island, I'll get us back on.
Really?
You know where we're going?
Yeah. Are you really doing it? I didn't hear what you're doing.
Hey, you just look for us here. Guys.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. It would be sweet if that was Libby's boat.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That must have been the camp right there. Wow, all the tents are gone.
Libby's or Penny's? Oh, Libby did have a boat.
The tents are gone. For so many years, this was our office.
Another ad.
I only feel happiness and gratefulness and joy that I was a part of this experience.
It's going to take a while to get the whole experience, not just the experience of playing Saeed, but the whole life experience of doing this job.
We have to go back to the real world. I mean, I had to already, but
Yeah,
you have to now.
You did it, and you have to readjust.
Readjustments.
I was talking to Dominic Monaghan, and he was kind of saying that you're going to need to have, like, this moment where you kind of put this job to bed in a way, and then on to the next adventure.
I feel really completed in the Ben story. It's just, I suppose it's just right.
Wow.
For better or for worse, I kind of feel like now I could do anything I want with the rest of my life and not worry about it, no matter how simple or how trivial or how mundane.
I have put so much focus and attention towards that guy's life and his journey for 6 years now that he's gone and
Yeah, when he came back.
that story's over. You know, there's definitely a feeling of letting something go, and kind of leaves you a little bit wandering around.
Oh, it just feels like I'm in heaven.
I feel like I kind of did something really great, and I kind of made a mark somehow. I've had a really exciting journey, and I've been a part of something that hopefully and probably will go down as something special. And that's a really amazing gift. Not too many people that can say that they've been given that kind of gift at 30 years old.
Woo, you go, girl.
You can't really separate the experience of playing Jack Shephard and the experience of being in Hawaii for 6 years and working with the people that I worked with, and that's all of life changes you to some degree. In a lot of respects, we are just our memories.
I'm surprised I don't really feel sadness as much as I feel fondness. The memories are good, and so they're not tinged with regret. I just feel very lucky that I was able to experience what I did with the people that I did. And there are only a handful of people in the world that will be able to say that, you know, they were all lost. And they lived in Hawaii and they worked in the areas where we're flying over. I feel very lucky.
I am not gonna cry. But I feel it. I feel it coming.
Like everything, you gotta know when to stop. And I think maybe this is a good time to stop this, because if I keep doing it, I'll just overpaint it. And it's kind of alive and well right now.
Wow.
And whether it ends up this or something else, it's got a certain life that I like.
Yeah.
Show me Vincent.
Actually, it was a female dog. I forgot what the name
That's what we're doing first. He's walking by and we see the shoe, he doesn't, which is the way it was in the pilot.
Totally.
Yeah, this is it.
We tried to make a really intelligent show, one that took risks. The fact that we could actually set the mark high and that the audience liked that the audience appreciated that the show was challenging. You know, that to me is something that I will always be incredibly proud of.
Action.
He acted his butt off right there.
I'm most proud of the fact that after 6 seasons and, you know, more than 120 episodes of the show, people still cared about it when it ended.
Okay, and we still do. There go Vincent, baby.
I'm thinking when we were here 6 years ago and we first kind of dropped down into his face and thinking that the show was never going to get picked up in a million years.
Wow.
I love it. The same thing with Fringe. Remember they kept saying the same thing. Ugh. Wow.
Hear the sound?
Right now I'm in that stage of just being incredibly excited. I just wrapped a few minutes ago, my last shot, and 20 minutes ago, and so I'm still just sort of in that feeling of, God, I can't believe we did this.
Dario Quinn, and Jorge Garcia, geniuses both. Thank you so much.
That was their last take. Oh, look. Cannonball! Oh.
For us, it was something that was completely monumental, and it was about life changes and realizing things about ourselves and falling in love with new people and new friendships and new places. And there's something so beautiful that happened here that you can't just leave and that's that. You know, we're taking something with us.
The goat. I'm trying not to cry. If they don't stop playing this music, they could have did Hawaii 5-0 or something.
You don't want to use the last Starbucks?
Is it the last one? Yeah, because that hard Kleenex, tissue is something else. Oh. Oh. I can't believe I cried again. And I'm probably going to cry some more because we got to talk about it. I don't know.
Well, for me, I love that. Thank you, William Carr Jr. I love seeing.
Thanks.
For
making me cry.
behind the scenes footage. There's only a handful of shows that I think I would actually enjoy watching all the behind the scenes footage.
And then rewatching
it again.
Yeah.
Everybody came away with the same thing. This fondness and togetherness, gratitude. And one thing that struck me out of all of them that I could relate to, for me, it was kind of like military. When you're in the military, you meet people from everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
And you create a bond. And that bond lasts.
For years, on top of years.
You cannot talk to somebody for years, and then you run into them, and it's like nothing never happened.
Yeah, that's true.
So, which is great, because I still have a lot of friends that I speak to today.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Shout
so
out
I love
to
y'all.
you
Shout out to my Air Force people.
Andrew.
Like, prime example. We went to Las Vegas, and one of our friends was in Las Vegas, stationed there, still in.
Yeah.
And, it was like we had never, it's like we had been still, it was great. Shout out to you, Audrey.
Things have changed. I mean, we've gotten older.
Right.
We're husband and wives, family, children, and everything is different. And just like what Matthew Fox was saying, that his son was literally raised on the island, like in Hawaii, and experiencing all of this with them. So he said that he was 2 and now he's 8. So he said all of his conscious life, he has known this. He has known Hawaii. So I'm glad that this was a good one, because this was right after it ended. So all of their feelings were still, bubbling over. But they didn't speak with Terry or Quinn, but we know he's the GOAT. But they did speak with, oh goodness, I'm not going to remember her name. It's Evangeline Lilly. Yay!
You got it.
Because y'all know I'll give somebody a nickname in a minute. But my ashtray, Josh. But her story, Evangeline, her story was really, really touching to me.
Yeah.
She said that up until them actually filming this, that she was never in one place at one time for more than 6 months, and she didn't go, it wasn't a consistent family life for her either. So that was, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I know. That just did something for me. For her to, woo! Get it together. Woo! Get it together.
Yeah, her story was great. This is her first ever acting on camera. Acting job.
Ever.
She did amazing.
Oh my gosh.
You would think
by this that she's been doing this for a while. She said, and then she just turned 30 at the end of it. Can you imagine being 24 your first gig, even though you haven't had any stability your whole, well, she didn't say that, but I'm just saying, you know, paraphrasing maybe a certain part of her life where she didn't have any stability. But anyway, we love the fact that they actually filmed this in Hawaii.
Yes.
Because had they done CGI for the background, it would have blown. It would have just, it wouldn't have made it past the first. It probably wouldn't have made it past the pilot.
Yeah.
Right.
True. Yeah. It was great. I like how they had Michael Emerson and Jorge together.
Yeah.
You know, Ben and Hurley.
Yeah.
that was sweet.
Yeah.
They had
Tequila during the in the helicopter.
Lapidus Claire and Richard were together.
Yeah.
This was great.
This was awesome.
Yeah, can't wait for more.
Yeah. I mean, literally, this is our thing.
Yeah.
We're Losties for real. We have been baptized in the funk of Lost. So we are Losties. But yeah, I can't wait to see more. You guys keep giving us suggestions. Email it to us, and we will definitely react to it. But I'm hoping that they won't play any more of Michael G's music, because this is what you're going to get.
Man, he's a master. You will never, when you go down a list of stuff that he's done.
And then I'm going to realize that, probably all the crime movies that I've ever cried on.
Not even crime, but just great stuff that you remember the music.
Oh, yeah.
Like Incredibles. I didn't know.
What?
Yes!
Yes! We love Incredibles! I just got excited.
All right, so thank you guys for suggesting this. We'll see y'all next time. We love y'all.
Love you guys. Bye.